Hi everybody, this is a demo for encasing reducing silver glass. I am using Aura, but you may elect to use another reducing silver glass. The only one that I don't recommend is Gaia and perhaps Helios. It is always a good idea to nip the tip of a cut end of a new rod. The cut ends usually leave tiny bubbles in your bead, especially in transparent colors. For this demo, I'm going to be making a smaller donut-shaped bead and then encasing that after we reduce the silver glass. Warm up your bead release on your mandrel. I always recommend starting with a disc shape, even though you are ultimately going for a donut-shaped bead. The reason is you have a little bit better control of the footprint of the bead if you start with a disc shape. If you're not comfortable with just wrapping a disc shape continuously, you can do what I am doing here. Start with a small spacer and then just do one wrap at a time to build up the disc shape. Then you want to just slowly soften the glass and let the disc slump into a donut shape, and the footprint is going to widen. It will be a nice, clean footprint with two dimpled ends. To shape a perfect donut shape, as the glass soften and start to drip, take it out of the flame and round it up by continuously rotating the mandrel and making sure that the mandrel is not tilted but perfectly parallel to your bench top. If one side has a little bit more glass as you are rotating, I will slow down the rotation when there's more glass on the top and let gravity help round the donut shape perfectly. Once the bead is shaped, we let the glass cool until the glow is gone. Put it under the table to make sure that the glow is in fact gone. At the same time, you change the flame chemistry to a propane-rich flame. You can do it multiple ways. I like to add a little propane and reduce a little bit oxygen for a softer reduction flame. I always recommend reduce multiple times in a softer reduction flame so you can control how much reduction the glass is receiving, as opposed to one giant reduction flame and do it at once and run the risk of over-reducing. So you can see I am wafting the bead in the reduction flame, and I usually stay away from the yellow candle. And when I do go in the yellow candles, I am watching it to make sure that I don't linger too long or the silver glass may over-reduce. For encasing reducing silver glass, it's always good to reduce until the glass is really shiny, so your chance of retaining the iridescence is better. Once the reduction effects are to your liking, you don't want to put the bead back into the flame too much. You can waft it in and out for insurance heat, but don't linger too long. Keeping the bead under the flame, encase quickly with your clear glass. I am using Sapphire. I like to encase the middle of the bead first, putting one wrap of clear immediately on the belly of the bead to encase the iridescence at its shiniest. Then add wrap to the right of it, then to the left of it, and then to the right closer to the bead hole, and then to the left closer to the bead hole. The reason is if you are to wind the clear from one end to the other, chances are you are going to put a little bit too much heat on the reduced silver glass as you're winding the clear, and the beginning of your encasing end is going to be shinier than the end of your encasing. By starting in the middle, you will ensure that the middle of the bead has the best iridescence. I always have a little bit more clear on the ends because I want to be able to wrap the clear all the way down and cover the silver glass all the way to the bead hole. So by having a little bit more clear on the ends, then I will marver the bead ends at an angle where the extra clear is. When you encase silver glass and your clear encasement is uneven, or if there are crevices or holes, don't use gravity and heat to smooth it out. Instead, add more glass or take away glass if needed. Otherwise, you run the risk of erasing the silver glass effect. The trick to keeping the iridescence under encasement is to make sure that you don't put too much heat on your bead after encasing. So I am using the marver a lot to shape and not relying on heat and gravity. Essentially, I am just softening the clear just a little bit, just enough for me to marver and smooth out the encasing, and do it multiple times, watching the glow of the bead. You don't want to go past the red-orange stage. If you heat the bead to more orange and yellow-orange, you probably will lose all your iridescence and the colors. I also marver the end of the bead either on my pedal or on the torch mount marver. When you do that, just be very gentle. You are not touching the bead release on the marver, or you may run the risk of cracking your bead release. At some point, you will have to put a little bit more heat on the ends of your bead. It's a little bit sacrifice you have to make. Lose a little bit of the silver glass effect for a better shape bead with dimpled ends. Again, heat it just to the red-orange stage. Take it out of the flame and let the residual heat to soften the clear more. And if you need to, marver it a little bit, as I do here, at the end of the handheld marver or the torch mount marver. But when you do that to shape the ends, make sure that you do it gently as not to break your bead release. So the few things to remember: watch the glow, don't heat the bead past the red-orange stage, and marver in order to shape the encasing clear instead of using heat and gravity. There you have it. Encase Reducing Silver Glass Basic with Aura.